Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit about SED. SED is known as a stream editor and it supports regular expressions. Some of the more popular uses for SED include doing substitutions and being able to find things or print specific things from a file. One of the things that's really nice about SED is it's considered non-destructive. That means that it's not actually changing your original file. You would have the ability to redirect the input into a new file if you would like to save your changes or just print it to your screen, but it's not by default changing the original. You actually have to use a special option for it to be able to change. So I would like to show you a couple of examples of using SED. So right now you can see my command prompt and I have a file in here called Datebook. And if you look at my file called Datebook, you can see I have names, phone numbers, addresses, zip codes, birthdays, and then a number at the end. Now, this is obviously all fake information. None of this is real. There is no zippy pinhead at Bizarro Ave, so this isn't anybody's real data. So let's say, for example, I wanted to make a small change to my file. So you can see right now, Popeye the Sailor lives in anywhere. Now, I know that Popeye has clearly had quite a bit of spinach and has therefore had the ability to move. So he no longer lives in anywhere. He's actually moved to not here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to use SED to substitute, the S is for substitute, anywhere, and I'd like to substitute that in and have it say not here, and I'd like to run this on Datebook. So now what you'll see is Popeye the Sailor now lives in not here, USA. Now let's say, for example, I wanted to save this. I have tested it out. It worked the way that I was hoping for. I can then redirect this into Datebook version 2. And then you can see I've now created Datebook version 2. And when I look at that, I can see that my new information for Popeye is now here, but I don't have to worry about my original datebook being changed. The original still says anywhere. So I can have it show up on the screen, or I can append it or redirect it into a new file. Now, another thing that I can do with SED by default is a line-by-line way of going through your text file. So because it's line by line, the changes that it makes are actually the first instance only. So let's say you want to make a change, but you want this to be a global change for the entirety of your file. You would actually have to specify that you want this to be global. So let's say, for example, I've decided that I would like to substitute wherever there was a 0, I want it to say O, and I'd like this to be global. Now, if I didn't do the global, then when I run this on Datebook, what's going to end up happening is it's only going to change the first one. So you can see the first time it finds a 0, it changes it, but the subsequent zeros on that line were not changed. If, however, I add in the global option, I can see that it will actually change every 0 that it finds to an O. Now, I could do this the other way as well. So anytime I see an O, I can have it change to be a 0. So I want to make my whole file leet speak because I am clearly so cool. So now I can go through and change every instance of an O to a 0. Now, another thing that I could do with this is I can actually play a little bit with printing. So what you're seeing right now is every time I make one of these changes, it's showing me the entirety of the file. But instead, what I can actually do is have it print only the lines that were changed rather than the whole file. So let's say, for example, I want to substitute anywhere to not here for Popeye, and I would like to have it print only that line. So now you can see what will happen is it will only print the line that was changed. Now, I know that Popeye was the only person that lived in anywhere, so that was the only line that showed up. But if I had multiple lines that were changed, I would actually have the ability to see just the lines that were changed rather than all of the lines in the file. Now, another way that we could do it is we could have it print only the lines that matched the search for the thing instead of the substitutions. So in this case, I can have it look for mass and then have it print only what's in mass. So you can see that this command is actually telling it to only print the lines that match the thing that I was searching for. In this case is MA. And so rather than having the entire file printed, I am only looking at these lines. So this is something else that we can do with printing. Now another thing that we can do that's really kind of cool is SED also has the ability to do piping. So let's say, for example, I wanted to continue my leet speak. So in my file, I could do the change global. So I'm going to substitute in wherever I see an O, I would like to substitute in a 0. I would like this to be globally, and I'd like this to work on datebook. So this is what we saw before, and you can see that's all now been changed. Now, the next thing that I could do is I could actually continue this. So I could say, hey, SED, I would like to substitute in, let's see, another one that I could do is wherever I see an S, I'd like to change it to a 3. So wherever I see an S, I want it to be a 3. I would like this to happen globally. So now what hopefully is happening is wherever I had an S, I now have a 3. So by doing this piped command, I'm actually changing O's to 0s and S's to 3s, and you can see that happening on all of these. So you can see my O's have now changed to 0s, my S's have now changed to 3s, and if I wanted to save this, I could save this into a new file. So I can sort of go through and start making the changes that I want and looking at it, doing multiple commands. Now, this is not necessarily the best way of going about things. A lot of times with power tools, there are multiple ways of going about things. So if you want to play with different options, regular expressions, there's actually much more elegant ways of doing this. This is just one option as you're starting to play with things. So you could absolutely find a way to be able to do a regular expression substitution where it would switch O's for 0s and S's for 3s and have it do it in one line without having to pipe, I'm sure. This is just one more option that's available to you. If you have any questions, please let me know.